Hey guys, Unexceptional Rounder here, and today I'm going to be doing a Leakfinder video on some play that Sharkslayer videotaped of himself, or recorded of himself playing. And for those of you guys that don't know Sharkslayer yet, he is the co-host of my weekly poker show, Squeeze Play. Last week there was some audio issues, so he didn't get heard too much on the show, but I feel like he still played a pretty big part. Anyway, we're going to watch this play a little bit. I have jotted down some notes, but I just wanted to watch the whole thing. That way you get a feel for the play. And I'll just be commenting on some areas where I think he could have played differently. And we'll start with that Queen 9. Excuse me. Yeah, right off the bat, Queen 9 suited on the button. Perfectly reasonable to open there on the left-hand table. And the reason for that is just because it's going to be ahead, and a lot of the money that we make when we're playing, especially shorthanded holdem, is just stealing the blinds. So I think Queen 9 suited just has to be in your opening range. And if you need, I would say that if you forget or get confused, you don't want to rely on a hand chart to base your decisions off of, but if you forget or if it helps you, then why not go for it? I've used a hand chart many times, and I find it helpful, and it keeps me from going on tilt. It keeps me from doing things that maybe I normally wouldn't do or would lead to further mistakes. So anyway, that's just a note on that, and let's keep going. All right, we've got, looks like Ace Jack offsuit. And one note about this hand is I think I've cleared this up with Sharkslayer, but just don't post out of position. You can avoid losing money, especially like under the gun like that, posting out of position. Also, go ahead and raise pre-flop. Once you do post, Ace Jack is good enough to raise up a couple limps even from bad position, but don't post, wait for the big blind and, raise up Ace Jack if no one else has raised the pot. That's fine. And here, yeah, you got the nut flush draw and a couple overcards, so the bet out's fine. I'm going to try to watch between 30 and 45 minutes of play here. That way we get a good sample, and we can make just some observations on mistakes that are kind of more common themes. And then what we'll do is I'll probably go ahead and have him send me a video in a week or two. This footage of him playing is a little bit old, so his game may have actually improved from this time to now. But what I'll do is have him send me another video of more recent play, and we'll see if he's corrected a few of the errors and maybe fine-tune, narrow in on some of the other mistakes that might be going on. All right, let's see what happens with these 9s on the bottom table. Just looking at this leading up to the hand, I would be fine with just checking and seeing the flop. Yeah, that raise is probably okay, but you're out of position. You're still kind of looking to hit a set with 9s, and you're playing against a bunch of loose passive players. So my idea is in that spot, you can just see the flop, and if you hit a set, it's going to be great. It's going to be disguised. You don't have to put any extra money in, but now you're raising. You're probably going to get a couple callers. You're going to be out of position, and you're not going to usually hit top pair with a pocket 9s. Usually you're going to, have second or third pair and kind of be in an ugly spot. Here, you kind of just have to check and give up, right? I mean, there's 3 players left to act behind, and it's just tough. You're out of position, and you got 3 players to get through. Yeah, he ends up betting at this. Err on the side of aggression. That's what I always kind of would advocate, is erring on the side of aggression. And that raise on table 1, the top left, I like that. That's fine. Here, he erred on the side of aggression. That's great. But in general, you can probably just check fold there. It's just a tough board to bet into out of position with 3 players. And now the ace comes, he's going to check. That guy's only got about a pot-sized bet. He's got himself in a tough situation. On the top table, standard continuation bet should be fine there. Actually, yeah, so it looks like he lost that hand on the bottom. Here, obviously, you want to raise this up with the ace-queen. I don't... Completing, I mean, it's all right, but you can just raise there. I think a raise there is going to show a profit more so than just limping. Because now you don't have initiative in the hand and you're getting bet into. You kind of just, have to go away. The 4s, I don't mind the raise. You're going to be isolating the guy that posted there, it looks like, and you've got position, so I don't mind that play at all. Three, 5 on the bottom table is a good fold. And here we've got 9-8 in the big blind. You could make a argument for 3-betting, a button or small blind raise. Folding's fine. 3-betting would be okay. Even calling would probably be all right. You're both deep. You've got a good suited connector. You can play position against the small blind and let him know that he can't just steal every big blind from you. That's not a bad message to send early on in the game. If you're going to be sitting at the table for a while. Ten jack suited is a good hand to raise here. And the 6-7, yeah, I definitely just call. You don't need to put any extra money in. The 10 jack, you didn't hit. Just go ahead, let it go. No big deal. One of the keys with small stakes is, your money really gets made where when you hit a hand and you've got a loose passive player that's going to call you down. So, just like I always kind of say, know where your money's coming from, know what your bet's purpose is, and ask those questions. Make sure you're always asking the questions, and that'll keep you out of trouble a lot of the time. Here at the pocket 4s, it's just a fold because you've got all these players to act behind. You're not in good position. The pot odds are fine for calling. I get that. You've got, almost a little, less than 40, but, about 30 to 1 or something implied odds. You've got plenty of implied odds. My concern is the times you can get raised from the cutoff or the button, and the fact that if somebody calls behind, now you don't have position. It's not an egregious mistake, but just keep in mind that if you've got aggressive players behind you, I know you don't have stats up here, but if you've got aggressive players behind you, you want to go ahead and fold that. If you saw that both the players behind you were very tight and nitty, and that you didn't expect them to 3-bet often, if ever, then you can make that call. But it's going to be player dependent. As a default, you can probably just fold it. Yeah, as played, it's fine. Call, look to hit a set. If you don't, just go ahead and check fold. And king queen under the gun. It's it's on the line. Yeah, I would say that you can just go ahead and fold it for the most part. It doesn't need to be part of your range, so I like that fold. I'm fine with it. King queen suited, maybe throw in there, but again, as you're first starting out, as you're first learning, you don't have to play. You can pretty much only play premiums under the gun. You know, that's fine to do. You don't have to open every suited ace. You don't have to open every pair. You can play tight, and that's okay. I think a lot of players, you know, play 6-max and think they have to be, you know, lag, loose aggressive, play a bunch of hands. But, you know, when it comes down to it, the blinds, yeah, they're expensive, but people are going to pay you off at 6-max. And especially at low stakes, especially when you're just getting your feet wet, you know, you can pass up some of those marginal opportunities. Yeah, the 5-4 suited, just let that one go. I think, you know, you were on the button. It was all right. You know, you're only 4-handed, but yeah, it is. I mean, it's fine, but it's not something you need to be opening. You know, that ace-9 though, I would probably go ahead and open that. You've got dead money in the pot from the player to the left that posted. You've got ace-9. It's 4-handed. I mean, that I probably would go ahead and raise. So it looks like a little bit of the work you need to do is just with starting hand selection, getting that down sort of pre-flop. Just pay attention to who's in the pot, how many players there are, just the kind of the basic stuff that you would expect a new player to maybe be struggling with a little bit. This king-9 should be a raise. Yeah, that's bad. You're losing some money there. When you've got any kind of decent hand, especially king-9. I mean, king-9 is a really strong hand, heads up. You know, it's a strong hand. I mean, it's high up there. And so you just can't be folding. I mean, every time you fold there, you're losing value. Not only from the times you steal, but from the times you raise and you take down the pot, or the times you raise and they call and you take down the pot post flop. The times that you actually hit and win a sizable pot. You know, king-9, just you need to be raising that in the small blind. Really, until you're kind of shown that a player is going to play back at you from the big blind. You know, you can probably go ahead and raise something like your button range from the small blind. A lot of players aren't going to play back at you, and if they do, they might play back incorrectly. King-Jack suited, you could 3-bet or you could fold. I don't like calling. Unfortunately, that's what you end up doing. Aces, looks like you're going to go ahead and raise there. That's good. Yeah, the King-Jack, it's just, you know, try to 3-bet and push him off his hand, or just let it go. You're in the small blind, you're out of position. Flat calling now, you're forcing yourself to play fit or fold, which means you either have to hit a hand or you have to fold. And then it looks like you lead out at it, which it ends up working. It's a little unconventional. I don't love it. And you continuation bet your aces, that's fine. Up top, it looks like he kind of missed a little bit, but it looks like he took down the ace-king hand. You posted again. Again, we kind of talked about not doing that, and that's how you ended up in the hand. So yeah, I know we've talked about this, so you don't do it anymore. But for any of you guys that are still posting your big blind before you're required, stop doing it. You're just costing yourself money unnecessarily. And you know, like I say, in a game where your win rate can be plus or minus, you know, one big bet can decide whether you're a winner or a loser. You can't afford to throw one away like that to start off every session. Or you know, half of one technically. And I know you're not always throwing it away, but it's still not great. Let's see. I know I saw something at 21. Let's just start playing here at 21. Oh, okay. Yeah, this 5-6 hand. I wrote this down. Not sure why. I guess because you did something other than fold, which is interesting. So 5-6 suited. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Don't call with 5-6 there. You got an under the gun raise. You've got a suited connector which wants to win a big pot, and you've got a short stack raising from under the gun. Now you flop the diamonds, so maybe you fold, maybe you get yourself into trouble. I don't know. Fold the 9-5, the 10s. You can probably like re-raising there. I don't know. I guess you can do either. Oof, and you just flat call. I mean, you've got a bad diamond draw. You got the 6 high. The guy's got, you know, $1 left. The pot's are going to be $1. So I'm guessing you fold here now. Yeah, if you're going to make that play, I mean, you can raise the flop. I don't like the call pre-flop. I don't really like the flat call on the flop. I guess it's not too bad. Yeah, I know we talked. I talked to him about this ace-queen thing a while ago, but yeah, stop folding ace-queen. I think there's some confusion about some of the stuff you know, I had said and some of the stuff that had been read about ace-queen. You know, sort of, hey, you know, it's not that great. Don't go crazy with it. And I think it just got misinterpreted a little bit. But yeah, ace-queen, go ahead and raise it up. No problem. But that's why we do this. That's why we look. And here's the thing that amazes me is, you know, anybody can make those mistakes, and they could do that for a long time if they didn't, you know, have somebody look at their play or have somebody look at what they're doing. So that's, I mean, lucky for Shark. I'm taking a look at his stuff and making sure that he corrects these small errors and starts getting his win rate going. And this should be a fold with 6-7, which he makes. So that's good. All right, here with the ace-10, I'm guessing he calls. You know, I don't love the call. You know, a raise there, I'm not going to complain about. You know, if you're 3-betting too much, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And then again, you know, you can raise there. Flat calling out of position is just going to make it tough to win. You might get a free river here because you called, but you could also consider betting out like half pot, sort of a block bet. Yeah, and you're not really getting odds to call. Actually, you know, the turn bluff I actually like if you do that, but make it big. You got to make it like $1.50. You know, maybe not quite that big, but what do you end up? What did you call? Yeah, I don't love the call, and then you check. So what happened here, and the problem is that you called out a position with kind of a weak hand, right? Ace-10 isn't super strong, and then you ended up just check calling all the way down. You never gave yourself a chance to win the pot other than hitting the best hand. And if you're going to call with speculative hands, you have to give yourself at least one chance to win the pot without hitting your hand, because you're just not going to hit your hand that often. And if you're going to play the hand, you've got to win some money once in a while when you don't hit. And I would have been okay with a pre-flop raise, a flop raise, a turn raise. You've got to at least bet somewhere in there, and you never did. You never gave yourself an opportunity to win that pot. So it was almost just like you kind of threw that money away the whole time, and it's going to be very expensive. I mean, that was a fairly, you know, decent-sized pot that you just lost. So that's going to get really expensive. So it looks like we're picking up quite a few things that can be improved here. The flat call with jacks is all right. You know, you could raise, you can call. You're in position. It's going to be tough to play pre-flop as the caller because you're going to get c-bet most of the time. I probably prefer a raise here. I do call with jacks myself sometimes. You know, looking at this, maybe it's wrong. I mean, you should probably just go ahead and put in the raise. Yeah, it looks like you just kind of folded here when, I mean, you called with called with jacks, flopped an overpair, and then you just fold to the flop bet. I'm not sure how you can put him on a range of hands that only beats you after just. I hope it's clear why that's bad now for everyone maybe that's watching that might not know, but the range of just an average player that opens a hand doesn't necessarily beat jacks there. I mean, his c-betting range isn't just sets and flushes and kings, queens, and aces. I mean, that's just not what his range is. So you just absolutely have to at least call there. I mean, even if you think that raising is only going to get called by better, you got to call. If a fourth heart comes, okay, got it. You can probably let it go. If another low sort of straight card comes, maybe, but I don't think you can let it go on the flop there. There's just no way that on average he's going to be ahead of you enough to be folding. And I understand that there was a player to act behind, but most of the time that player is just going to go away unless he's got a real strong hand. I really don't like that play with jacks. And we'll try to get a couple more hands. The video's getting towards 30 minutes, and I think we've already hit quite a few things. A lot of it pre-flop, and so maybe the next time we watch Shark play, we can analyze some of his post-flop play a little bit more. We did hit some post-flop play also. And here, this is also kind of strange with the 10s on table 2, because you've got an under-the-gun player opening now, but now we're choosing to 3-bet 10s out of position, but we just flat called jacks in position against a cutoff raise. So we're 3-betting a stronger range with a weaker hand from a worse position, and not trying to get value out of our stronger hand in position against a later position raise. So I think there's just, sort of some, maybe it's just some mental lapses going on here where you're just not thinking through the situation and maybe just sort of seeing the hands. And but you just think about sort of maybe setting up some basic guidelines. Again, I think a real benefit would be a hand chart, and what I'm working on right now is updating my full ring hand chart. I want to add in some more situational stuff. Right now I really just have, here's what you open in an unopened pot. I'm going to go into that a little bit more, not right now, but in the near future. Currently I'm going to be working on some sit and go stuff because I got a big project coming up, and I won't spoil it, but a little tiny bit of it has to do with sit and goes, not a ton. And again, this ace queen fold, I know we already talked about it, but ace queen in the small blind, it's a raise. So we've already covered that. He and I have, but for anyone who is confused, make sure you raise ace queen in the small blind if it folds to you. And you'll make money in that spot. That'll be a good spot to make money. Let's see if we can get one more hand in here, and then we'll wrap it up. And I don't want to beat up Shark too much on these because this is one of his absolute first sessions playing. But I think it's a really good, interesting thing to see a new player making some of the mistakes that you don't really see as much. not to beat him up too bad, but it it shows that like a lot of this stuff that maybe, and this is why I enjoy doing this so much, because some of the stuff that seems very like common knowledge, it's not common. Poker's a complex game. A lot of people don't know the basics. And I would expect that the more Leakfinder videos I do, the more stuff like this I'm going to see. And I think it's great because it's going to help him out. It helps me out as someone who's kind of trying to coach and teach people. And it also is going to help out all the subscribers and viewers that watch and see, maybe there's some mistakes in here that they didn't quite understand or get the concepts on that they'll understand a little bit better. Hopefully I've explained why the things I've critiqued are incorrect and why the correct play is different from the play that he took on these hands. Let's see, we got ace king suited. Can't screw this up, right? Let's see what happens. I don't see a note on this one, so I think we do okay. Let me fast forward here. It looks like there's no way you can lose this hand, so this is good. I'm going to fast forward to one more hand because I talk about it. I think I've talked about it a couple other times. Let's make sure this ace-king hand goes okay, and then I'll skip to it if I can. What happened here? We check. Why did we check the turn? Bet. Just keep betting. All right. You've got ace king with the flush draw. Just bet like, go bet, bet, bet. Just try to get all the money in if you can. You're never folding there. I think you could have gotten more value out of the ace king. All right. I've got this pair of eights marked down. And let's see what happens. Raise under the gun. No problems with that. I don't have any issue with raising under the gun there. Okay, we get a good flop for eights. It's on us. I would expect a continuation bet here most of the time. Probably like 95% of the time. And it looks like we're going to get one, so that's perfect. So each hand has all these different steps, you know. Every hand there's a decision, and there's sort of a decision tree that goes down. And here, the board hasn't really changed, and here's what I don't like about this hand. If we thought we were good on the flop, and we should probably think we're still good on the turn, now he checks, his opponent bets, and we fold. And I really don't like that play, because nothing about the way the opponent played told us that he had a 9 or told us that he had an overpair. He could have easily just been floating in position. And that turn bet, let's rewind it and watch it again. That is the perfect spot for a bet fold. So let's look at it again. All right. And this is going to be the last hand. So we bet under the gun, no problem. Make a nice big pot size raise. We get called by the button, which is going to happen all the time. Now, this is a favorable flop. We get 9-9-5, almost always going to be good here, right? 9 is rarely going to be in his range. What does he call with our under the gun range, you know? 8-9, 9-10 maybe. Those are kind of loose though, right? Jack-9, I don't think so. I mean, that's not very good. So what does he have here? Maybe some overcards. No problem. He can call with those. Not a lot of draws out there. Overcards, 7s, 6s, 4s. And then here we get this. What if he has ace-5 suited here? You know, easily within, you know, maybe his range if he's loose. That is a hand he could have. He could have 6s, 7s. And then we just check to him and give him the opportunity to float us. And I really don't like that. I think the turn, you can very safely bet fold. That's the example hand that I was talking about in the live stream. And I think that's just a perfect example of where a bet fold gets you, makes you money. It gets you the information. You're able to get away from the hand when you're behind. You're able to put the pressure on your opponent, take the pot down when you're ahead a lot. If you are ahead, you can get more value. If he's got 7s there, he may very well call again. If he's got ace-5, he may call again. You could get more value out of that hand by betting. Instead, you just checked and gave up, and I think that's probably one of the worst options there. So anyway, we're gonna leave it there with the bet fold on the turn. Hope you guys learned something from this video. I'm gonna keep trying to work on the format. I like to watch the play and see it sort of naturally unfold. I think it'll be a little more interesting if I watch somebody who has stats, so we can kind of evaluate how those stats develop and how that changes what's going on. But I think this was great. I think we learned a lot. We found a lot of mistakes. Hopefully, Shark, you can take this advice and improve your game with it. And I know you will. So this has been Unexceptional Rounder. Till next time, you guys keep on grinding.